just been chaotic mornings and so many different things going on that I honestly, by the time I think about it, I've already eaten something, and I don't like weighing in after I eat anything or get dressed and all that kind of stuff for the day. So we'll get there eventually. So stay tuned for the next update on that. However, okay. So first of all, yesterday we were trying to figure out what to have for dinner. This is like always a struggle. Now that I can actually eat, because it's like, what do I want? And sometimes I have cravings, but a lot of the times I don't. So I'm like, I don't know. So we decided on shrimp, but then we had to figure out what we were gonna have for shrimp. And so we came up with this plan of having shrimp tacos, which, I mean, I got to have one shrimp taco, but it was really good. So yeah, I had to go pick up some like avocado and a couple other things, but it was really good. Really enjoyed it. I did put some like of Guy Fieri's chipotle sauce on there, and it was a little spicy. Hurt a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. And honestly, it was so good. I enjoyed it. So yeah, one thing that I figured that I would share today, just because I didn't have a huge update for you guys in terms of, you know, my days, like everything's been going pretty well, no major issues, nothing, no complaints. So I decided I'm going to review some myths about this surgery, just to clear the air on some things, because I think a lot of people have some like biases and different things that I think it's important to chat about in terms of the surgery, especially if it's something that you're thinking about, but you're the type of person that like really cares what people think about it, you know what I mean? So we're going to review some myths, okay? So the first myth that I want to talk about is really the fact that people say that this surgery is the quick fix, and I have talked about this one before, but it's not a quick fix. It is not an easy solution. It's not a above and beyond just being something for people that are obese or morbidly obese, okay? So don't stigmatize it, guys, okay? Because this is for everybody. The other thing that I've heard is that the surgery is really, really, really dangerous, and that also is not necessarily true. Obviously, every surgery comes with a risk. One of the steps for the surgery that I personally went through because of its coverage in the province was I had a call with my surgeon prior to surgery, and the one thing that they do is review all the possible risks and complications of the surgery. And my biggest takeaway from it, I don't remember every single one, because let's be real, they talk so fast, and I'm just listening, I'm like, okay. But every time that he would list one, they all had very, very, very low percentages of risk. So that's where, like, if something stood out to me and it had a high percentage, I'd remember that, but all I can remember as my takeaway was all the risks were very low, which tells me that this surgery, as much as, yes, it comes with risks, and yes, I know, and I've seen people having major issues with it, but I've also heard of and seen way more people have long-term success with no issues whatsoever. I know quite a few people personally, especially now that I've had the surgery. I've had so many people reach out to me that have already had it and root for me and cheer me on and tell me how their surgery was amazing and it was the best thing they ever did. So just something to keep in mind, guys. It is not necessarily high risk. Everybody's situation could be different, though. You could be in a position where maybe it is a little bit more high risk, so it's definitely worth talking to your doctor about, but it's not in itself considered a high risk surgery. The other one too is, well, it's a two-parter, so that you can't eat normally ever again and that you'll gain all your weight back. Okay, so again, both of these aren't really true. Right now I eat normal foods, but I eat very small quantities of normal foods. Now, you can stretch out your stomach. Think back to when you were a baby. You had a small stomach. You stretched it out over time, right? You overate. You got to that point where you're like, oh, I'm so full, right? That's stretching your stomach out. You don't want to do that. You want to eat to contentment. You don't want to eat to full. Because when you eat to full, that's actually generally when you're stretching your stomach out. And a lot of the times that's happening because, well, guess what? We're not paying attention to hunger cues, or we're just eating too fast. So do not do that to yourself. But that can happen. And if that does happen, is there potential to regain the weight? Of course there is, just like anything else, right? If you re-stretch your stomach and then you start making the wrong choices in the process of that, 100% you can regain your weight just as easily as you can keep it off by not doing those things. And then in the topic of not being able to eat the same way ever again, so in that theory, you can re-stretch your stomach out to a point where you can eat a little bit more of a normal volume if that's what you want to do. You may or may not gain weight depending on what you're eating as a process. However, it is 100% not true that you can never eat normally again, because I had a shrimp taco yesterday, okay? I might not have had 3, but I had a shrimp taco. So I will say that I'm eating fairly normal foods for the most part. I make a nacho platter for myself every once in a while. It has high protein chips, okay? You can 100% eat normal foods. And I'm not even 3 months post-op yet, guys, and I'm eating very normal foods. Now, there's a lot of people that can't eat certain things that I can. I've been really freaking lucky, but I can't eat bread. But there's a lot of people that can't quite eat like the pasta and the rice and the things that I am able to eat so far, which I'm very grateful that I can. But in the same token, with time, you will get there. So, yeah, that is that myth busted. Okay. I'm trying to think if there's any more. The other one, I mean, this one isn't as big of one, but it's definitely something that we'll touch on, and then we'll end it because we're getting long. But the fact that this surgery is only for people who have no willpower, and 100% again, that is not the truth. I was a person who had very good success with weight losses before, and just got to a point where it didn't even matter what I did anymore. I just couldn't lose weight. I would just gain and lose the same 5-10 pounds. I won't say that I'm a person who has no willpower, because when I want to, I have very strong willpower. But the problem with anything like that becomes that eventually all good things crumble. And sometimes, at least in my case, I wanted and needed a reset, and that was what this was for me. So everybody's reasonings might be different. Again, whether it's maybe just for other health conditions to help, maybe get you off your medications, or whatever the case might be. Everybody's situation is different, whether you're morbidly obese or just overweight and you're just not content with where you are and you're having other issues. The surgery fits a lot of different molds. So it is not one to be characterized. It's not one to sit here and say, oh, well, you are having bariatric surgery, so you must have been overweight and whatever. No, not 100% true. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helps to clear some of the air with some of the myths of the surgery. And I really appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to like and subscribe.